Peace. So we're going to have a look at some of the energetic situations that are taking place. There have been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of releasing, a lot of I feel like coming to terms with, you know, those events in life that where acceptance is, kind of the correct response to the best of your ability. Any of you who have kind of been dealing with having to let go of things you didn't want to let go of, they come back to you when you're in right resonance with your heart, or they're in right resonance with your heart, is what's coming through. Great Mama Asit, aka Isis. So we're going to be pulling an Isis card. I've really had a lot of I don't know, man. I feel like it runs, there's so many different, it's like runs through like I don't know, maybe a spectrum of colors or something, like, that are not the average colors. And I've had to deal with some unexpected things, but also come to terms with aspects of myself where there's vulnerability. And, that's been going around. We're getting a lot of heavy, kind of unnecessary density, worry-laden density, toxic projection, false projection density off of us. But the way that you do that is you resonate out of it. You resonate out of it. There's a number of methods and a number of ways to do it. There are a number of, I would say, qualified teachers in whatever field they study. You know what I'm saying? And you can always kind of tell. You can feel like that heart alignment vibe. You can feel that it's, they're doing this to help, or they're doing this, to guide. They're not, kind of doing it, just, for trending, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not kind of caught up in other reasonings for kind of putting themselves out there. They've studied their methodology. And so if you're feeling drawn to yoga, or you're feeling drawn to, if you're into astrologics, there's a lot that goes into that. There's more than one system for a reason, and they both have validity where they have validity, where they have an authority in that frequency. They have an authority in that frequency. And that's pretty much what it is with whatever healing, expansion, ascension modalities and methods you decide to work with. You're never alone. And I think that's something like a lot of hard work had to be done on me, so to speak, and with me to reach the aspects of me that I was holding on to a lot, that was weighing my consciousness down and was magnetizing me to situations where I felt it was my position to be the one who just, kind of gets loaded on with the burdens or whatever. And like, you could absolutely, depending on the day, feel that in my vibe, hashtag disempowered empath life, right? And I'm finally finding my way out of it, because the fact of the matter is, it's good to help others. It's good, if you feel called to shamanic work and what have you, but you yourself have to make sure, your home base is in alignment, that your energetics in alignment, that you're not just left drained beyond reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, some situations call for it, because there might be a person who's in a hard way, and you might be that starseed, or you might be that empath. It's like, well, I'm just going to do this. And if I'm kind of like knock somebody behind for like the next month, it's worth it for this person. And that's peace. I would say talk to your spiritual family, talk to your spiritual team, and if they're prodding you that, nah, I don't think you want to do. Oh, okay. All right then. You know, like if they're trying to tell you, but you're being hard-headed, you know, when we put too much energy out there where we're using too much of our own that we require for our own path, it can absolutely have an effect on your life, y'all. That may not be desirable. And then you got to go back and do the recharge work and the healing work. So I feel like we're in a time where a lot of empaths are coming to terms with the fact that being an empath is not like a life sentence of drudgery and always feeling bad vibes and always having to figure this out for that one or figure that out for this one. Like, you do come up in frequency as you allow yourself to, and you can be an even stronger healer. And what Spirit's been saying a lot lately in different readings has been like, you become more of an example of what to do. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how you can do the work. And you have those clear boundary lines. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have to be like boundary lines where you got like, I don't know, all sorts of crazy ill defenses set up on those boundary lines when you get into the right higher heart resonance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to pull a card for y'all. I don't anticipate that this is going to be a long reading. Wow, this just fell out like, but this is a lot of cards. Just the top card, okay. Like, what? Just a minute, let me start over shuffling these. Oh, okay then. I wasn't sure how many cards we were going to pull. Alright, and here's the mysterious card that's turned over. Like, I don't really deal with reversals a lot, but I've been turning cards, like, you know, inward, like laying them flat when I do different readings. And so some of them will be facing, like, the table, and some of them will be facing up from the table. And I don't know, I've found there's, like, a meaning to it lately. Like, it wasn't like I did it intentionally for, like, when the next readings, when I shuffle, to look at it that way. But for some reason, like, this card is faced down. And this would be in the soul expansion placement is what I'm being given. And okay, so this is like a mind, heart, soul expansion spread. So that's what we're looking at today. And at the top of the deck is Cartouche, Divine Names of Power. And I feel like a lot of your, you could say like aligned masters, or it feels like sages, or for those who are ready for it, they're going to be presenting themselves to you for, you know, kind of further realizations. You know what I'm saying? And training your mind on a higher level, you know, to deal with your soul mission from a level of higher consciousness and priesthood for a lot of y'all who tune into this channel. Or priestesshood. Oh, okay, so, alright, so I'm being given the priestesses are, like, already, they're on they're already priestesses, they're already in their priestesses. Correct, okay. I give thanks. Scales of Balance comes out in the mind placement. Ancient Tantra of the Soul. What I'm picking up here, there may be a lot of like choice making trying to happen, you know, that y'all are dealing with. And it's one of those things where, like, in the past it might have driven y'all like batty, but now you're realizing you don't have to be put on the spot. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be this or that in that way where it's like, no, you're gonna have to choose. It ain't even that serious. Okay, like at certain parts of the calibration that you might experience, let's say between 4D and, like, if you're sometimes, you know, dealing with like 3D, because a lot of y'all that tune to this channel are not, you're kind of hovering above 3D, for those of you that it makes sense to. And I think it'll make sense to a lot of y'all, because that's what Spirit is saying. you're realizing a lot of the, demanding, you must do this types of reactions from other people, or these assertions of power, kind of equate, I'm just going to go with what's coming to me, kind of equate to nothing at the end of the day if you're just like not participating. You know what I'm saying? So now, and the need to be perfect, which has been a big thing, you know what I'm saying, for a good portion of y'all, is also losing its hold on you. You know what I'm saying? You want to do things correctly. You do want to be, it's not even just want to be, like on a heart level, you intend to be coming from, a righteous place with, as far as your intentions go and whatnot. But you're overall tired of having other people project their toxicity onto you. For some of you, for a large portion of you, and what's coming through spirit, there are some that you wanted to see pay for some things that were done to you, however. And so this is kind of, from what's coming through Great Mama Aset, what has you sitting in the place you're sitting in right now. Because if you are putting someone else on trial, in your mind, in your feelings, in your whatever, it opens the door at certain levels of calibration for someone else to put you on trial in their mind, in their emotions, or wherever. And there's an energetic hold. And so this is why working on letting go of what you don't need to be holding on to. Some situations are absolutely a matter of justice and they need to be righted, and you feel it. It's like it burns like with a righteous type of fire in your soul, and you're like, this needs to be corrected. I feel like that's one thing, and when that's the case. If you're holding on to certain things that have happened to you because you feel like it's giving you a source of strength to remain angry, it's actually anger eventually eats away at the person holding it. So it definitely has a purpose. It helps you come to a resolution. It helps you to pass through uncompromising situations, is what I'm getting from spirit. Like, it helps you to hold your own when you're dealing with a lack of reason on the parts of, whether it's other people or society or what have you. Like, it's a thing. It can help you. It can be a fuel, but it's a fuel. In one of the decks that hasn't been released yet, there's a card, Anger is a Fuel That Burns Fast, because it's one of the channeled things for the cards. And like it is, like, because if you the more you're holding on to anger, it's difficult to participate in the good that's taking place in your life around you. And then on top of holding on to the anger, you now have to deal with other people who are on that resonance. So then it's like you start running into hostile people, you know what I mean, and wondering why. Then you can look to where you're holding anger. And that's why sometimes if it's just a petty situation, or if it's really just someone else's hang up, or maybe they're dealing with a mental illness, unfortunately, or however it's working out, you don't have to get caught up in it and waste all of your good energy, because years can go by while you're in a power struggle with someone who is feeding off of your energy and generating some amount of importance by keeping you focused on them. And this can happen unconsciously, which is why we do like this deep work, and we cleanse ourselves, you know what I'm saying? It especially getting our heart in the right place, we get that weight off of our heart, because at the end of the day, you want to be light as a feather. You want to be able to go where you want to go on the inner planes. Like mental real estate, like, come on now, that better cost. The right price or whatever. But if someone's going to be in your life like that, where they're actually going to be on your mind, what are they bringing to the table? Is this a heart connection? Is this, a sound and, like ethical kind of business connection? Is there a reason for that much mental real estate to be given, you know what I'm saying, to any, you know, any one person or group of people. And so, like, we've done so much work at this point, it's getting easier and easier and easier to clear things away. And I think this has a lot to do with those Aquarian energies, because the more you can come into, you know, it definitely is like I don't know, like more of a connection with your higher mind, you know, the violet spectrum, and you can be in your heart frequency. The more you can see what's possible, and then whatever you have to deal with, like in the, you know, the physical world, earth interface, like you're able to do so. So at this time, if you're hung up on decisions, if you're hung up on, well, which do I do first, if like all of a sudden all of these different things, it's like, get this done, are being thrown at you, you have the right, the absolute right, to take your time and to communicate. You know, I'm not saying I'm being like petty and sarcastic unless you really feel like you need to in the situation, because it's all about resonance. I do think we need to be checking ourselves and doing our best to be as right as we would like to be treated, you know what I'm saying, whenever possible. But if you're dealing with that right now, then step back, take your time, you know, and let yourself get into a flow of what is the correct thing to move on, because people can't run you like that if you don't respond to bullying energies, overly domineering energies, overly controlling energies. It just doesn't work. And then now they got to deal with those energies themselves, and I guess figure out who else they'd like to project it on, or maybe they could process it themselves. There's a thought. You see what else is coming up for the mind. Yeah, for those of y'all, I feel like there's like one or two, is what Spirit is saying, of you out there that you're really in your head. Deal with water, because being in the head too much can kind of cause standstills with your progress of where you're trying to go. I feel like there will be openings for y'all in particular. For some of y'all who do like work with green, you know, do a lot of cleansing and stay, you know, like in a place of like empowered humility, I'm being given, where you're dealing with your heart chakra and you're empowered in a sense where, you've got the integrity of your framework, you know, your spine is straight and whatnot, but you're not like overly showy or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just being in your flow and quietly doing your work. It'll be about probably 2 months. There will be like more breakthroughs, you know what I'm saying, in terms of comprehension of the path that you're on. And really feeling clearer about the guidance that you're receiving. Because at the end of the day, if you can trust yourself, you know who to trust. How do I put this? Like, I have a really keen sense of who to trust, but when I've not listened to that, I've wound up in some of the worst situations. So it's going to feel right to your heart. And it's going to be more consistently feeling right to your heart than not. You know what I'm saying? And there's typically like a sound and true explanation available if Spirit, you know, is like, look, I can't change this situation for you, but, you know, here's the math on this. Some things we have to do ourselves. But those things where people are trying to trick us into a bind or try to trick us into kind of holding negative energies, karmic energies or whatever, and projections or whatnot to ruin our life so that they could, you know, kind of make off with our blessing energies. Like, those situations, like, Spirit can absolutely help to remove those from you. But if you keep going back to it, then that, you know what I'm saying, then that's kind of a decision. And it does take time. Sometimes it's difficult to really get the lesson. You know what I'm saying? In any given situation. But at this time, this is coming up to higher levels and processing a lot of things that have passed, and looking at the future And the future is bright. It's really, really bright. But you can handle it. And if you don't feel like you can handle it, I say that's where you work with like sacred mothers. You work with, you know what I'm saying? You call on those mama goddesses that you resonate with, and you do your healing and your rest and your renewal, and allow your energy to, or your sacred mothers, you know what I'm saying, divine mothers, like, to bring you into the calibration where you're supposed to be, so to speak, for you to feel right and to be in a healthy place. A lot of y'all just need to release sadness. Release it. Because if it's someone who is making you sad intentionally, they're not important to your future. They were acting out of hurt, or they were acting out of toxicity. If it's a sadness where you're like, you feel a sense of loss, whoever you have a true heart connection with, like, you always, when it's in the right resonance, you can link up with them. That's the bottom line. Like, it's all about right resonance. Some folks are vibrating on a certain level where they might have been living in your town and everything was gravy, and then their resonance went up. And maybe the resonance in your town ain't so hot, and instead of moving upwards, you kind of just stayed. And you're like, I can't get this person, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't, like, link up. Or, you know, I've been hoping, like, we could do, like, a trip together. Or we could, you know what I'm saying? It could be, like, a childhood friend. It could be whatever. But it's all about resonance. You know, it might be that you're still holding on to the past in a way that doesn't match the path that person is on, or those group of friends are on. But it doesn't mean the love is lost. So as we do our self-work, it's just realizing, you know, really coming back to that, like, you're worthy of living a life that has joy in it. Like, we can't be beaten down by life, you know, without on some level feeling like it's deserved. And as in this process, working with spirit and whatnot, will show you, like, these things aren't abuse, whether mental, did I say mental? Oh my goodness, y'all. Whether mental, emotional, or physical, it is not, you know what I'm saying? It's not something someone deserves. And a lot of times, people who have been abused are not even the types of people, you know, that would be of that mindset to be an abuser. You know what I mean? It's usually the, you know, more humble people, or people who have been really projected upon a lot, who cannot see themselves clearly, and they get very confused about what's in front of them, and they just want to feel love, and they get linked up with the wrong people or the wrong person. And you just always know in your heart who's there for you, and not to mention, they show and prove. So I feel like any losses that may be experienced, there's a reason for them. Just know that if it's in heart resonance with you, it, or the person or people, if they're in heart resonance with you, you can always access that. You can always access soul family. You know what I'm saying? But it's a resonance thing. And this is the same thing with abundance and prosperity, you know, which they sound like buzzwords at this point, because it's like so much of that going around. Be abundant. Listen to this binaural. Be abundant. Da, 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 da. But at the end of the day, these are training tools. And if you put in that level of work, those training tools are going to help you, you know what I'm saying, to get into a resonance where mentally you are putting out thought frequencies that are in alignment with abundance, and those thought frequencies are going to marry best with vibrations that are in alignment with abundance. You dig? So sometimes it takes time, but it, you know, it works. It's just the thoughts of hopelessness, the thoughts of despair that become the bigger challenge. You know, it's where you can feel your feelings and allow yourself to feel your feelings, but you can let them go, and you can bring your, you know, resonance up after that, and you'll be less heavy. Wings of Isis, Uniting with the angelic self is in the heart placement. So a lot of y'all are getting angelic upgrades. That is popping out at me. You're having visions. Y'all might have had like angelics show up at the house. You know what I mean? There is a lot going on. There are dream experiences taking place. Even those that used to try to kind of interfere with you on a spiritual level, like there's a fade off. Yeah. Great Mama is telling me, yeah, like there's like a fade off. Like they can't get into your resonance on that level. So definitely if you find, I mean, it's unlikely that that's going to slip, but if you find that even a little bit of that is taking place, then work with like a rose quartz or a Tibetan quartz, rose quartz or Tibetan quartz at night when you go to sleep, and that's going to help you a lot. Working with both, if you're dealing with dreams that you'd rather not be having, you can also just, request protection. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how intense the experience is. Like you can call on Archangel Michael, absolutely. Because some things have already been faced on the level they need to be faced. So you don't need to keep going around and around and around and around and around and around and around. You know what I'm saying? Like in completely unnecessary cycles. You might pick up on more things about people, where if it's coming through on an angelic level, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be up to you, how you want to deal with that. But we're going to have more of a comprehension. It's from a different light band, a different angelic frequency, where we're going to know how to be of service in different ways and how to give to people what they require from whatever level we can at that moment, where we're not being overburdened, but we are living our life, you know what I'm saying? Like, and with a high degree of spiritual service. So as these remembrances, returned abilities come back to you, take time to be with yourself, take time to be with whoever you identify with as higher power, at the level of higher consciousness and God consciousness. And just be in the light of it. You know what I mean? The energy is so beautiful and it's so healing, and it will hydrate you. It's like light that hydrates. And that's what Great Mama Aset is saying. See anything else here? That's for the next. Okay, so I'm gonna turn over the Soul Expansion card, Lady of the Stars, Priestess of Sirius. A lot of Dreamtime activity for divine counterparts. Very, very interesting. This is helping to fill in, it feels like, areas in your, like, it's like filling in areas in your consciousness with higher light. This is definitely like Starseed, Steez, Sirius energy, and the Lionsgate is right around the corner. For those tuning in at the time of this recording, this could be utilized as an evergreen, aka timeless reading as well, but at this time of the recording, the Lionsgate's right around the corner. And this light is the Syrian light. It's filling in, it's like gaps or areas in your DNA where like delusions were attempting to take hold. Where old timelines that were never good for you were attempting to kind of steal spots on the planet. Is that what it... To take up consciousness on the planet and kind of change the course of history into an extremely disempowered direction for the masses. Much of that's been overcome. So at this time, it's just important to purify to do your best to forgive whenever possible, because a lot of people were operating out of ignorance, or they were straight up being puppeted. You know, they weren't at the wheel, if correct. Okay. So if you can just let go of what's too heavy, and if you're concerned about what's going to happen to whom or what you're letting go of, then you could just ask your divine guidance to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, watch over them, or, you know, cover the situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, put some peace energy on it or whatever. It's not your job to heal everyone. It's straight up what's coming through spirit. At times, you may be asked to heal large numbers of people, but it is not your regular job to have most of your energy sucked out of you, and certainly not for your entire life walk. Oh, you may get signs and symbols in the dream. Spirit is also saying, write them down. You might later wish you had if you don't. The odds, the overwhelming odds is these are from Sirius. You'll know the feeling. It'll either feel right to you or it won't. It is up to you what to do with these. A lot of these are going to be symbols associated with healing different aspects of consciousness. So, you know, write down what comes to you, or what you're, if you have a direct remembrance when the symbol comes to you, you can write that down. These are for your healing, but if you want to share them later, after you feel like you comprehend the symbols, and if you feel like divine guidance is saying, like, you know, it's okay for you to, like, share them, where it won't be, like, injurious to your energy as they're coming through you, then that's perfectly fine, because they're angelic in nature, but primarily right now, they're for you. So maybe in like a year or so, you know, you can share them with others, but take that up with, you know, with your divine counsel, and you know, those who guide you divinely. Healing music and violet flame energy, very helpful for the rest of the summer. It not only helps you, but it helps people that you come into contact with when you leave your house, or if you use mass transit, so you're just saying, and you're sitting on the bus next to someone. It's resonance. You know, we're not truly here to fight others. That's not the imperative. We're here to uplift. We're here to be grounded when we need to be, when there's more to learn. But we're here to remember, is what Spirit is saying. Remember who we are, at least in purpose. Some people choose not to remember, like, you know, certain names, certain ancient ones that they may be associated with in some way. That's fine. But remembering your purpose changes everything for the better. All right, y'all. Is there anything else? And you can call on Archangel Michael if you have any problems in the next few weeks. Spirit said he's ready to angelically bust some heads. And Spirit says peace. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to shine a light beam in the comments. I know I haven't been that great with checking on comments, but you know, I've been going through a process, like y'all been going through a process, and doing my best to really learn how to be good to me and not be in this over-giver mode. But y'all know you can hit me up at the Gmail, the Metatripping Gmail. It's probably the best way to contact me if there's something you actually want to kick it about or discuss. You could also check out the Metatripping IG. And questions about the deck, that there's a deck that released, you can hit me up at Gmail on that, because I kind of changed some things with its availability, and it can, it can be purchased now, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not sure how I'm going to approach it promotionally, and that's just how it is, because I've had some things to contend with on this end. But it is available. So if you have a channel, or whatever, like, you're interested in that oracle for the divine counterpart messages, then get at me. All right, y'all. Peace.